There are moments in life when staying still feels heavier than taking the first step. This story did not begin with a map, a sponsor, or applause. It began with one simple question. What if peace is not something we talk about, but something we walk for? 3,500 kilometers, no shortcuts. No destination that promised comfort, only footsteps and faith. And so, the first step was taken. The world speaks loudly about peace. We see it in conferences, hear it in speeches, and scroll past it on social media. But while we talk about peace, the world moves violently. Fast, loud, restless. It's a constant rush, a race to somewhere we're not even sure we want to be. Walking is the opposite. It's an act of deliberate rebellion against that speed. Walking forces you to slow down, to feel the ground beneath your feet, to register every crack in the pavement, every pebble, every incline. It forces you to face distance honestly. You can't cheat a kilometer when you're walking it. You can't fast forward through the exhaustion. Peace cannot be rushed. It can't be manufactured in a boardroom or downloaded from an app. It must be cultivated slowly, deliberately. So the journey chose the only speed peace understands: human speed, one step at a time. That was the first lesson. To surrender to the pace of patience, to let the road dictate the rhythm, not my ambition. And the road began to teach its first lesson. In the beginning, the body protests loudly. Every muscle aches, screaming with a pain you haven't felt since you were a child learning to ride a bike. Blisters bloom like unwanted, painful flowers on your feet. The sun doesn't care about your schedule, and the rain doesn't ask for permission before it soaks you to the bone. Pain becomes a constant companion. Every single step becomes a negotiation. A debate in your head between the voice that begs you to quit and the quiet whisper that urges you to continue. Should I stop here? Can I make it to the next town? Maybe this was a stupid idea, but slowly, something shifts. You start to see the discomfort differently. You learn a dangerous, freeing truth. You learn that discomfort is not your enemy, avoidance is. The real enemy is the habit of running away from hardship, of seeking comfort at all costs. The pain was just a signal, a teacher pointing to where I was weak, not just in my muscles but in my resolve. It was teaching me resilience, one painful step at a time, but the hardest pain was not physical. When you walk for 10 to 12 hours a day, the external world fades away. The distractions that fill our modern lives are stripped bare. There's no music, no podcast, no one to impress with your progress. There is just the sound of your own breath, the crunch of gravel under your feet, and the vast, echoing silence. And into that silence, everything you've been running from comes rushing in. Old regrets resurface. Unanswered questions knock on the door of your consciousness again and again. Voices from the past, choices you made, words you wish you'd said or never said, all of it comes to the surface. Walking does not allow for escape. You can't outrun your own mind. It demands brutal honesty. You're forced to sit with your own thoughts, your own history, your own shortcomings. And you realize that this is also part of the journey. Peace isn't found by avoiding the messy parts of yourself. It's found by finally turning around, looking them in the eye, and listening. Truly listening, and then the world began to walk with me. When you're stripped of everything, your status, your job, your normal life, you become just a person on the road. And that's when you truly meet humanity. I remember a farmer who saw me resting, exhausted, by the side of his field. He didn't speak my language. He simply walked over, handed me a bottle of cool water and a piece of fruit, nodded and walked away. There was no transaction, no expectation. Just a simple act of human connection, a smile from a stranger in a passing car. A family offering a spot at their dinner table. The road introduces you to humanity without labels. No one cared where I came from or what I did for a living. They just saw a fellow human being on a long journey, and they responded with kindness. In these moments, peace stopped being an abstract concept, a political ideal. It became real. It lives in these small gestures, repeated by ordinary people, every single day, all over the world. Peace is not a treaty. Peace is a glass of water. Step by step, the meaning of peace changed. There comes a point on any long journey, probably around the 2/3 mark, when the initial motivation wears off. The novelty is gone. The end is still too far away to be encouraging. This is when the question changes. It's no longer, how far have I come, or how much further? It becomes a deeper, more challenging question. Why am I still doing this? The purpose, which once felt so clear and righteous, can suddenly feel heavier than your backpack. The physical pain is manageable, but the weight of doubt is crushing. This is where peace is truly tested. Not in the calm, beautiful moments watching a sunrise, but in the desolate, lonely moments when quitting feels like the most logical, sensible thing to do. Anyone can feel peaceful on a good day. But true peace, the kind that lasts, is a choice. It's the decision to continue walking forward without any guarantees, trusting that the path will reveal itself even when you can't see more than a few feet ahead. And then, something quiet happened. It wasn't a sudden revelation, there was no flash of light from the heavens. It was more like a slow, subtle shift in the landscape of my own mind. The road did not change, the distance did not shrink. The challenges were still there, but the walker did. I did. The fear that had been my constant companion began to soften. The gnawing anxiety about the future, about finishing, about what it all meant, it just loosened its grip. I stopped walking like it was a mission I had to accomplish. I stopped checking my progress obsessively. The walk stopped being about proving something to myself or to anyone else. It simply became a form of prayer. A moving meditation. Peace was no longer a destination I was striving for, somewhere at the end of the 3,500 kilometers. I realized it was already with me. It was under every step. It was in the feeling of the sun on my skin, in the taste of fresh water, in the rhythm of my own breathing. It was here. It had been here all along. And finally, the last kilometers arrived. The end of a long journey is a strange thing. It's a mix of relief, sadness, and a profound sense of emptiness. 3,500 kilometers ended. The destination was reached. But the walk taught me that peace was never meant to stop at a finish line. This journey was never about proving my own strength or endurance. It was a pilgrimage back to a fundamental truth, to remember our shared humanity. You may never walk this far. You may never need to. But you walk every day. You walk to your car, to the office, to the grocery store. And the real lesson of this journey is that peace begins with how you take your very next step. Will you take it in a rush, filled with anxiety, or will you take it slowly, consciously, kindly, towards yourself and towards others? The road is always waiting. Your journey is right there under your feet.